At Thanksgiving, Mom said, "No pie for your daughter." She didn't say thank you. My sister's kids got extra slices. I smiled, helped my daughter with her jacket, and we left. At 9:10 p.m. Dad texted, "Don't forget to send the payment tomorrow." I didn't get angry. I just announced this and he froze. The worst part wasn't even what my mom said. It was how my daughter looked at me after. Quiet, confused, like she'd done something wrong and didn't know what. For the rest of the day I couldn't shake it. I felt embarrassed. Not for myself, for her. For letting it happen. For standing there like it was normal. For bringing her into a house that's made it perfectly clear she doesn't belong. I don't even think she understands why they act like that. She's only 5. But she feels it. Can tell. And the fact that I smiled through it, trying to keep everything calm, made me feel like a coward. The truth is, I should have walked out a long time ago. It started like every Thanksgiving does. Tense smiles, over-decorated centerpieces, Kelly's boys running around like they owned the place. Mom was in her usual high gear, fussing over the gravy, complimenting the kids' little button-up shirts, and barely looking in my direction. My daughter walked in and said hi to her. Nothing. Just a glance. Then back to the stuffing. Dad didn't even bother getting up from the couch. The Cowboys were on. Second beer already open. I helped my daughter with her shoes and set her puzzle on the end of the table. I brought our own high chair again. Mom always makes a comment. This year it was, "Ah yes, the throne returns." I don't respond anymore. Dinner was quiet. I sat across from Kelly and her husband. The boys were loud, but everyone laughed at their interruptions like it was charming. My daughter said thank you before eating. Kelly smiled at her. No one else reacted. The food was decent. I'd helped make half of it the night before. But when my daughter asked if she could have seconds of mashed potatoes, my mom said, "Let's save some for people who eat everything on their plate." Her plate had 2 bites of turkey left. That was it. Kelly's face changed, but she didn't say anything right away. I felt my daughter's hand on my sleeve. She was trying not to look upset. I told her she didn't have to finish anything. That we were fine. After dinner, Mom made a big deal of pie time. Announced it like a game show prize. "Only for the ones who said thank you," she joked. I should have caught it then. Kelly's boys got 2 slices each. With whipped cream and ice cream. My daughter waited quietly. I think she thought they were just going in age order or something. When she stepped forward, Mom looked at her, then at me. She didn't say thank you for dinner. Kelly looked up so fast her fork clattered. She said it. She did. I heard her. Mom was already turning away. Well, I didn't hear it. Maybe next time she'll be louder. No one else said anything. Not Dad. Not Kelly's husband. My daughter stepped back without a word. I bent down and zipped up her jacket. We said goodbye only to Kelly, who looked like she didn't know whether to hug me or scream at our mom. We left without a word. All the way home I stared at the road, trying not to cry. I knew my daughter wasn't asleep yet. I could hear her breathing change when I looked at her in the rear view. She didn't understand why she didn't get pie. She didn't understand what she did wrong. At 9:10 p.m. my dad texted, "Don't forget to send the payment tomorrow." Like nothing happened. Like I was just an ATM with a child he couldn't be bothered to say hello to. I didn't get angry. I didn't respond. I just opened the family group chat the next morning and typed one sentence. "You'll need to figure out your own bills from now on." Dad froze. And that wasn't even the worst part for him. Not yet. The group chat had been silent for about 4 hours after I sent it. That was a record. Usually, if I even hinted that I might change something, especially something involving money, Dad would reply immediately with his usual tone of disbelief, like I was some unreliable assistant, not his daughter. This time though, nothing. Just the little seen checkmark sitting there taunting me. I left my phone on the counter and tried to focus on making lunch for my daughter. She was sitting at the table drawing something that looked like our house. She drew 3 stick figures, her, me, and our cat. No grandparents. No aunts. No cousins. Just us. It hurt to realize she'd started editing her world down to the people who actually made her feel safe. At noon my phone buzzed. One message. From Kelly. "You okay?" Simple, but it said everything. She always notices when things go off balance. I didn't answer right away. I didn't even know how to explain what I was feeling. Angry, yes, but mostly disappointed. Not just in them. In myself. For still expecting anything different. By 12:43, Dad finally broke the silence. "Wait, what's this about?" I almost laughed. He knew exactly what it was about. He just couldn't believe I'd actually done it. For years I'd been paying their bills. Their phone plan, their car insurance, my mom's little online shopping subscriptions. They acted like it was the natural order of things. I was the oldest daughter, so apparently that meant I was their built-in financial safety net. When I first started covering things, it was right after my divorce. I thought it would help keep the peace, keep some connection between us. It didn't. It just made me the family accountant they didn't have to thank. My daughter was born and they were polite for maybe a month. Then Mom started making comments about how she had her father's look, which was just her way of reminding me that he'd left. Dad never said anything outright, but his silence was loud enough. They looked at my daughter like she was a walking reminder of the man who'd disappointed them, and somehow they turned that into my fault. So when he asked, "What's this about?" I typed back one sentence. "I won't be paying anything anymore. Not bills. Not extras. Nothing. Please plan accordingly." I left my phone on the counter again. 10 minutes later it started lighting up with calls. I didn't answer any. The last time I tried to explain something to them, it ended with Mom saying I was too emotional, and Dad asking if I was seeing someone about that. Finally, another text. This time from Mom. "Really classy of you to make a scene over pie." That line. I stared at it for a long time. That smug little sentence that proved she hadn't heard a single word I'd been trying to say for years. It wasn't about the pie. It was about the fact that she looked my child in the face and decided to humiliate her. Over nothing. Just to remind me where we stood in her little hierarchy. I texted Kelly privately. "I'm done. I mean it this time." She replied almost instantly. "Good. So am I." That caught me off guard. Kelly never said things like that. He was the glue. The peacemaker. The one who always found a way to make our parents' behavior sound like it came from a place of love. "What do you mean?" I asked. She said, "Just come to dinner at our place next weekend. Bring your daughter. I'll explain then." It wasn't like her to sound mysterious, but I could tell something had shifted. Maybe she'd finally seen enough. Maybe she was tired of being the perfect one too. 2 days later, Mom sent me a Venmo request. $50 for household utilities. The note under it said, "Maybe this will jog your memory." I declined it without hesitation. 10 minutes later, Dad called again. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail. His tone was tight, annoyed, like he was lecturing an employee. "We had an agreement, Rachel. You don't just walk away from your responsibilities because of some emotional nonsense." That word, responsibilities, echoed in my head all evening. They really believed I owed them. That taking their side, paying their bills, keeping quiet while they chipped away at my daughter's confidence. All of that was my duty. And for years I believed it too. But not anymore. When I picked my daughter up that night and tucked her in, she asked me if she'd done something wrong at Grandma's. I told her no. That Grandma just forgot how to be nice sometimes. She smiled like that was enough for her. For now. But I knew things were only beginning to unravel. Because when my parents finally realized I was serious, that I wasn't coming back to fix things, they didn't go quiet. They got mean. And that's when Kelly stepped in a way I never saw coming. 3 days passed without a word from either of them. No texts. No calls. No surprise Venmo requests. Just silence. It should have felt like peace, but instead it felt like the moment right before a storm. When the sky's too quiet and you know something's coming. That something came on the 4th morning. My mom posted one of those weaponized Facebook statuses that she knows will get her friends stirred up. It said, "Funny how some daughters forget who sacrificed everything for them. Family means loyalty even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. But these days emotions matter more than morals." 12 likes, 3 comments, and the kind of silence that dares you to speak up. I didn't. I just took a screenshot and sent it to Kelly. Her response, "She's losing it." Later that day I got a fraud alert from Amazon. Only it wasn't fraud. It was a towel set, 2 pairs of slippers, and a rose gold oil diffuser. My old account, the one I used years ago when I was living at their house after the divorce, was still logged in on Mom's tablet. She had to know it was still tied to my card. She just thought I'd keep cleaning up after her like I always had. I canceled the order, locked the account, and changed every password I could remember. 10 minutes later, a missed call from Dad. I didn't answer. Then the text. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." I stared at that one for a while. The gall of it. The pure, quiet entitlement. Like I was just some employee who suddenly stopped showing up for her shift. But I didn't respond. I wasn't stepping back in. I'd made my choice. That weekend I drove out to Kelly's place. My daughter was bouncing in her car seat, excited to see her cousins. I hadn't told her much, just that we were going somewhere fun. Honestly, I needed the break as much as she did. Kelly greeted us like we were guests she'd been waiting all week to see. Her boys ran out in socks and pajamas, screaming my daughter's name like she was one of their own. Her husband handed me a cup of cider before I even had time to take off my coat. The house smelled like garlic bread and roasted vegetables. Smelled like family, the good kind. After dinner, once the kids were off watching a movie in the next room, Kelly leaned back and said it. "I'm done too." I blinked. I thought she meant dinner. He didn't. He meant them. She said she was tired of playing the golden child. Tired of translating mom's jabs and smoothing over dad's silences. Of being the buffer between me and everything they didn't want to deal with. She admitted that even as a kid she always knew there was a difference in how they treated us. She just didn't know what to do with it. I thought if I made them happy enough maybe they'd go easier on you. That part hit me the hardest. She wasn't gloating. She wasn't angry. She was just sad. I asked her what changed. She said, Thanksgiving. She couldn't stop thinking about how our mom looked at my daughter like she didn't even exist. Like she was just this inconvenient shadow trailing after me. Not a person. Not family. Just a problem. She's 5, Kelly said. She said thank you. I heard her. And mom pretended she didn't because it fit the version of her she wants to believe. Kelly told me she'd already canceled their regular Sunday call. She wasn't bringing the boys over anymore. No more texts. No more playing diplomat. She wanted out of the system too. That night as we sat on her couch watching our kids fall asleep in a pile of blankets, she told me she had one more idea. One dinner. Just us, the kids and our parents. At her house. A final chance. To make them see. I didn't say no. I didn't say yes either. Because a part of me didn't believe it would matter. But then just before I left she said, I'm not asking you to forgive them. I just want them to see what they're losing. That stuck with me. 2 days later, Dad showed up at my job. Not inside, just outside pacing. Like he didn't know whether to knock or disappear. I didn't see him until a coworker said, Hey, there's a guy out front staring at the door. I went outside. He didn't yell. He didn't apologize either. He just said, This is going too far. We're your parents. I looked him dead in the eye and said, You don't treat me or my daughter like family. You treat us like punishment. He didn't speak. Not one word. Just stood there like I'd slapped him. Eventually he left. I didn't tell my daughter about it. I just made her hot chocolate and let her pick a movie that night. She chose one about a big family who finally learns to get along in the end. I let her believe in that for now. But I knew the truth. The dinner was coming. And this time we weren't the ones being tested. Kelly planned the dinner like it was a peace summit. She texted me a list of dishes she was making. Roast chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, her husband's baked mac and cheese. The kind of meal you only put together when you want something to go right. She even said she'd ask mom to bring dessert. That part surprised me. You're inviting them? I asked. He said yes. They don't know what the dinner's really for. I just told them we're having a quiet evening. No big deal. I asked if she thought they'd come. They never say no to an opportunity to pretend nothing's wrong. That part was true. So Saturday came. My daughter wore the dress Kelly gave her for her birthday. The one mom pretended not to notice at the party. She was excited. No idea her grandparents would be there. I didn't tell her because I didn't want her worrying. Or rehearsing her manners like she always does before seeing them, like she's trying to earn their basic decency. We arrived early. The kids were already playing. Everything smelled like rosemary and cheese and warmth. For a while it felt like it could actually be a normal evening. At 6:12 they arrived. Dad first. Then Mom holding a pie. Pumpkin of course. She barely looked at me when she walked in. She greeted my daughter like a stranger she wasn't sure she remembered. A quick nod and a tight smile. Dinner started fine. The adults made small talk. Kelly's husband brought out wine. My dad laughed too hard at something unfunny. My mom complimented the napkins. It was all fake but tightly held. Then about halfway through dinner, Kelly cleared her throat and said, I think we should talk about Thanksgiving. Just like that. No build-up. No warning. A knife straight to the center of the table. Mom blinked. What about it? Kelly didn't flinch. About how you humiliated Rachel's daughter over pie. About how you've been treating her for years. My mom put her fork down. Dad leaned back like he was preparing for impact. I don't think this is the time or place. Mom started. It's the perfect time, Kelly said. You're in my house. I invited you to finally listen. I watched the color drain from Dad's face. He wasn't used to Kelly being anything but agreeable. She went on. You treat Rachel like she owes you something. You treat her daughter like she's some kind of stain on the family name. And it's disgusting. Mom laughed, short, sharp. Oh, come on. That's not fair. Kelly turned to her. Then tell me what is fair. Ignoring her? Shaming a 5-year-old in front of a room full of people? Acting like you're still owed something because you sacrificed a few years of parenting 30 years ago. It was quiet after that. My daughter looked up at me, unsure if she was allowed to keep eating. I nodded. Dad finally spoke. You don't understand how hard it was for us. We did the best we could. Kelly snapped back instantly. No, you did the best you wanted. There's a difference. Then she turned to me and said, You don't need to say anything. I invited them here because I needed to say this. But I did say something. I looked at my mother and said, when you refused to give her pie, you weren't punishing her. You were punishing me. For raising her without the man who left. And for not being embarrassed enough about it. That's when something happened I didn't expect. My daughter, quiet, sweet, always careful, looked at my mom and said, I don't think you like me. Just like that. My mom looked like she'd been slapped. She tried to speak but nothing came out. And then Kelly's husband, who had barely said a word all night, put his fork down and said, we're not doing this anymore. You can either be part of this family or you can be guests we stop inviting. No one spoke for a while after that. Dinner ended early. My parents left without saying goodbye. No hugs. No dessert. They took the pie with them. I stayed until the kids were asleep. Helped Kelly with the dishes. She looked tired but clear-eyed. I don't know if they'll come back from this, she said. I don't care if they do, I answered. But a week later something happened I truly didn't expect. They showed up. Together. At my front door. And they were holding gifts. One of them wrapped in pink paper. And then my father got on his knees. The doorbell rang once. Not rushed. Just one long quiet chime. I almost didn't get up. I figured it was a delivery or maybe someone selling something. But then I glanced at the window and saw two shadows standing still on the porch. When I opened the door I froze. It was them. Both of them. My dad in a heavy coat he rarely wore. My mom holding a pink wrapped box that didn't look like it came from a store. The edges were wrinkled and taped unevenly, like someone had tried to remember how to wrap a gift after years of letting others do it. They didn't say anything right away. They just stood there like they were waiting for permission. I didn't invite them in. I just stepped aside. They walked in slowly, eyes sweeping the room like it was foreign. My daughter was lying on the rug in front of the TV, crayons scattered everywhere, watching some cartoon. She turned when she heard the door. Her eyes went to them immediately, then down to the box, then back to me. She didn't move. Neither did they. And then out of nowhere my dad did something I don't think I'll ever forget. He got on his knees. At first I thought he dropped something or was trying to kneel down to talk to my daughter. But then he just stayed there, both knees on the floor, eyes not on her, on me. I don't deserve to be here, he said. But I needed to say I'm sorry. Out loud. Face to face. My mom sat the pink box down gently on the coffee table. She was shaking a little. She looked at my daughter, then at me. Her voice came out quiet. I thought I was right, she said. I thought I was teaching her something. But I see it now. I see what I've done. What we've done. She looked older than I'd ever seen her look. My daughter stayed where she was. Just watching. Listening. Dad looked at her now. Still on his knees. You didn't do anything wrong. You never did. You were never the problem. He looked at me next. We were. And we are. And I know that now. There was no big speech. No excuses. Just words that sounded like they cost something. My mom picked up the pink box and held it out, still not moving closer. I saw this in a little shop last week, she said. I don't even know if she'll like it. But I thought of her. For once, I thought of her. My daughter stood up and walked over slowly. She didn't reach for it right away. She looked at me first. Not scared. Just unsure. I gave a small nod. She took the box carefully and sat back down to open it. Inside was a white music box. A ballerina in the center, gold-trimmed edges, little painted roses along the sides. She turned the tiny crank and the figure spun in slow, clumsy circles, playing a soft melody. My daughter just stared at it. Then very quietly she whispered, "Thank you." And for the first time in 5 years I saw my mother cry without trying to hide it. Dad still hadn't stood up. I walked over to him and said, "You don't have to kneel. But if you're here just to feel better about yourselves, then you can go." He looked up at me and said, "I'm here because I need you to know I believe you now. About everything." I nodded once. They stayed for about 10 minutes. Nothing deep was said after that. Just small comments. A few attempts at gentleness. They didn't push. Didn't try to fix it all in one visit. Before they left, Mom leaned down and said to my daughter, "I want to learn how to be better. You don't have to believe me yet. But I'll show you." My daughter didn't respond. But she didn't move away either when Mom softly placed her hand on her back. After they left, we sat in silence. My daughter kept winding the box and watching the ballerina spin. Finally, she said, "They were different." "Yeah," I said. "They were." Then she asked, "Is it okay if I like the music?" I smiled. "Of course. You can like whatever you want." She fell asleep that night curled up on the couch, the music box still playing beside her. And for the first time in years, I let myself think about something I hadn't in a long time. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of something. Maybe it was the beginning. The next morning felt quieter than usual. Not in a bad way, just still. Like the house was resting. Like something heavy had finally been set down. My daughter woke up curled around the music box, hair messy, eyes half closed, and the first thing she whispered was, "Do you think she meant it?" I didn't ask who. I just said, "I think she's trying." She nodded and pulled the blanket up to her chin. That was enough for her. For the next few days, nothing dramatic happened. No phone calls. No sudden drop-ins. No guilt-trippy messages. But the silence didn't feel like punishment anymore. It felt like everyone was holding back for the first time, like they were choosing their words carefully, maybe even thinking them through. Then on Wednesday afternoon, a small box arrived at the door. No return address, but I recognized my mom's handwriting immediately. Inside was a folded note, not typed, not cleaned up, just ink and lined paper and a few crossed-out words like she'd written it all in one sitting without starting over. The letter didn't ask for forgiveness. It didn't defend anything. It just admitted everything. She wrote about the early years, how she saw me carrying too much and said nothing, how she let her disappointment over my ex turn into resentment toward my daughter, how Thanksgiving wasn't the first time she'd let that resentment show, just the ugliest time. She wrote, "I thought being hard on you made me strong. I thought not showing softness made me a good mother. But all it did was teach you to carry pain without asking for help. And now I see you teaching your daughter something better. Something I never gave you." She ended the letter with, "You don't owe us your trust. We owe you our change. I'm going to keep trying even if it takes the rest of my life." I sat on the couch holding that letter for a long time, not crying, not even really thinking, just letting the words sink in. They weren't perfect, but they were real. And that was new. Later that week, Kelly invited us back over. Just us and her family this time. Homemade pizza night, the kids making a mess in the kitchen, laughter that felt effortless. The kind of evening that fills you up in a way you don't notice until you're driving home and realize you're smiling for no reason. Halfway through dinner, Kelly poured us both a glass of wine and said, "You know what's weird? I think they're actually scared now." I raised an eyebrow. She nodded. For the first time, they're scared of losing something real. Her. Me. Then she looked at me more serious. "You saved us, you know." I laughed it off, but she didn't blink. "You were the first one who said enough. The first one who stopped pretending. And when you did, you gave the rest of us permission to stop too." I didn't know what to say to that. I'd always felt like the damaged one. The disappointment. But maybe I was just the one who cracked the mirror first, and gave the rest of them a chance to see their own reflection. That Sunday, I asked my daughter what she wanted to do. She picked the library. On the way there, she asked if she could bring the music box with her in the car. I said yes. She held it in her lap and watched the ballerina turn as we drove. Out of nowhere, she said, "I think Grandma likes me now." I said, "I think she's starting to." Then she said something that caught me completely off guard. "She's learning. Like how I'm learning to tie my shoes." And there was the clarity only kids seem to have. No drama. No history. Just an honest view of people trying, or not trying, and the slow grace of watching someone get better. That night after dinner, my phone buzzed. Photo from my mom. My dad was sitting on their living room floor, bent over a puzzle with reading glasses halfway down his nose. There was a caption underneath. He says he wants to teach her how to do the edges first. No pressure. No guilt. Just a message. A beginning. And I realized, the real revenge wasn't cutting them off. The real power came from showing them what love actually looks like. And letting them decide if they wanted to rise to it.